All right, the final part of our utility shed is looking like this, and I did lose my video portion. Let me see if I can add that real quick. Oh, maybe it's got it. All right, well, either way, revisions and final drawings, you don't really need to see my face anyways. So here's kind of a quick overview. Again, if you log into PLTW, you can see these instructions as well, but I'm just going to do a walkthrough, especially some of the parts are a little harder to follow. So we're going to create a section view. That's going to be under the View tab to start off with that. That's going to create a cutting plane line. We're going to do this view. We're going to add some text based off of what should be in there. So by the end, it'll look something like this. We'll add some installation as well, so just some annotation stuff. Looks like we're going to add a roof pitch to our drawing, and by the end, we'll have a little PDF of our drawing as shown there. That is our end goal, and that's what you're going to submit, is something that looks kind of like this, hopefully by the end of this video. All right, without further ado, let's get into Revit. I'm going to move this over to the other screen for myself. And this is where we currently are at. Okay, so as of last video, we put in some topography as well. I have it left in my floor plan view. It's probably better in the 3D view, but you know, some version of that. We still got some dimensions and whatnot. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to go over to my floor plan view. So looking like this right now. And I want to create a cutting plane view. Or a section view. So if I go under here to view, there's a section option. And again, if you know, the roof is going to slope on the longer ends, right? So I'm going to make my cutting plane line cut across one of these sides where the roof slopes. Okay, so I'm going to kind of make mine maybe right around there-ish. And after it creates that, it should show up under this. If you look under your project browser, under sections, I've got my first section that I drew right there. Like I said, if you didn't see the earlier videos, my project browser sometimes is in the bottom left corner. I just like to drag mine over here and put it into the edge like that. Oh, I'm not in full screen mode anymore. That's why. All right, but anyways, kind of regret doing that. All right, anyways, here it is. So again, double click on your section view, and again, it should look something like this, where you can see that roof line. I might change my crop view a little bit so it looks a little bit neater, and also it gives me some more room to add my different text. Okay, so after I have this section view, you may want to mess around with this view scale, but again, for right now, I'm going to kind of leave it and just see how it turns out. Or if you want to check right now, if you bring it into Sheets, we're going to do this later, but if you drag it in, you can kind of see how small or how big it is. So right now, 1/8 does seem a little bit on the smaller side. So what I might do is go back to my section view, and maybe instead of an 1/8 to, maybe I'll try to change it to a 1/4. That probably is about a good size. All right, from there, the way they kind of recommend doing this is looking at the various materials. So like if you select a wall, for example, come over here to edit type, you can kind of see right now I have the shed wall siding. If I preview it, it'll kind of show what is that made up of, right? If I hit the edit structure, I can see that there's siding on the outside, there's some membrane air, plywood sheathing. Ours is metal stud, or at least the one I have selected. There's kind of a vapor retardant, and then gypsum wall or drywall on the inside. Right, so which is pretty standard overall. There's probably some insulation in there somewhere as well. Okay, so that's kind of how you can use as a guide, and if you wanted to add or change any materials, that's what you would need to do. As necessary. You can also do the same thing with the floor. You can check what kind of floor materials you have, edit it as necessary. But for my particular case here, we're going to kind of use the preset information. So again, we're kind of using from PLTW if you're logged in here. These are all the ones that you should be including. So for example, concrete slab, on the bottom. I think we added some wood flooring on ours. Got the 2x4 studs, the sheathing, cedar siding, the gypsum wallboard, again drywall, and then batt insulation. Similar for the roof, we got the insulation there, plywood sheathing, asphalt shingles, and then we're saying 2x8 rafters. All right, so all those should be added. I'm just going to kind of show you one of them just to kind of get you started, and then the rest you can obviously fill in as needed. All right, so how do we do that? First off, we're going to come over here to Annotate, and we're going to add text. When you select text, you'll see here you have a few options for leader lines. The one we're going to use is called a 2-segment leader line. All right, so we can see here we're going to click where we're pointing to, where the arrow is going to go, and then the final edge. Okay, so for example, I'll start off here with the floor. Okay, so that's where the arrow is going to be. Click again, drag it across. I don't need a terribly long leader line. And then as I start typing, right now you see it's a 1/4 inch aerial. I'll change that in a second. But right now it should be 6-inch concrete slab. Right, and if I click off from that right now, I notice that it is huge. I don't love that. So before I do any more, first off I can try 3/30 seconds aerial. Actually that already looks pretty good. But even still, if I wanted to make this text even smaller, okay, again, I don't have a ton of room to work off from, so it might not be a bad idea, but to edit your text. And to do that, I'm just hiding this tree here. All right, to do that, I'm going to select this, go over to Edit Type. And again, this is a long way, I know. Revit sometimes is a little bit funky in terms of how to make changes, but what I would want to do, 3/30 seconds, so it's already pretty small, 111. But what I'm going to do is duplicate. If I want something even smaller, so let's just say I do, just for the sake of example, I'll do 1/32 aerial. Again, I'm duplicating, making a new text, hit OK. And the main thing I need to change is this right here, text size. I'll change that to 1/32, hit apply, OK. And now I can see I've got a nice, maybe that's a little too small. Maybe 1/16 is a little better. I'll do that one more time, edit type, duplicate. Let's do this one as 1/16. Still aerial, changing the text size right there. Apply, hit OK. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so 1/16 might be a good size, assuming you're using the same scale and size sheet as I am. All right, I'm just tidying up my view a little bit. All right, like I said, you're going to kind of do that for all of the given materials, so everything in your wall, sheathing-wise, siding, insulation, so on and so forth. All right, but I'm going to kind of show you the other parts. First off, a common one is this insulation view. And this one you can kind of just approximate here. This just adds to your view. So again, we're going to add some insulation there. I'm going to add some to the interior of my roofing, stuff like that. All right, if you want to change the size, same thing. Come over here. You can change the insulation width. So maybe along the roof, maybe it's a little bit thicker. So I might be able to do that 4.5, maybe even 5. Let's see how 5 looks. Yeah, 5 looks pretty good. All right, so again, you can make changes, but like I said, make sure you add all of the components using the text. All right, I'm gonna run out of time here. Let me give this a pause here real quick. All right, so again, I'm gonna have a few kids kind of rolling in, but there's only a couple final things I need to show you. So at this point, you can, again, hide your crop region, and then when you do bring it into your sheet, like I said, make sure you finish up all the text there. When you come into your drawing sheet, you'll just click and drag this in here. You can paste it in, and then again, you should have everything in there. You know, to be looking at now, we probably could have even gone up a little bit higher from a 1/4 of an inch range. Play around with that, make it fit nicely in the size sheet that you have. Right, the final kind of annotation that they do mention in here that you probably want to add is here in the east view, we're going to show the roof pitch. All right, so to do that, I'm just going to come over here. I double clicked on the view so I can annotate. Under the Annotate tab, detail line, We're going to first off come through here. We're just going to make a little triangle. I'm going to generally try to match things up there. And this is a 12 or 9/12 pitch. Come over here, add some text. Oops, I still got leader line selected. Let's try that again. So text, I'm going to undo the leader line so it's just a text box. And again, my text is huge, so maybe I'll type it in first and then change it. So it's a 9. Click off from it. If we want to change the size, again, we'll go to probably 330 seconds for that one. Looks about right. Alright, so there's that one. If you want, you should be able to copy and paste. So that way I'm using that same text box. And I'm going to click off on, oops, double click on it to edit. Put in the 12. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to kind of just paste that in there. Alright, by the end, it should look something like this. If I double click off of it, I've got all my views in here. This is what I want to submit. So the final step is turning this into a PDF. Easiest way now is this button right here, create PDF sheet. Open that up. It says current window, or you can select a specific sheet. In this case, we only have one sheet. There's your file name. Right now I'm saving it under OneDrive Documents. Feel free to browse, put it in your desktop, wherever you can find it. Right? Once you hit export, oops. Alright, let's just do current window. I'm not sure why it couldn't let me select sheets. When you hit export, it should save it to where you just stated. I'll hopefully be able to pull it up. It's going to take a second to raster. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. By the time I get here to my OneDrive documents, and let's see where it's saving it to. It should be under Utility Shed. Here it is. When you open it up, it should be a nice, clean PDF for you to submit. All right, thanks everyone.